Hey everybody, Psychosaurus is here. Welcome back to H1 Pass Online. And as you can see, we have winter event going on. Sorry for the delay. I was a little bit busy. And let's just say we're back. And we have some things to do. So yes, we have the winter event going on. And I don't want to make this video too long, so most of the stuff you see here, you can just check out the last year video. It's gonna be practically the same. So in details, you have the login reward, so remember to log in as much as you can. If you haven't this week, well, you might lose the horse armor. But I think it's okay if you don't get the horse armor. That's not one item I would necessarily go after. But yeah, let's just keep this short. So login rewards, make sure to check this out. See when to log in. And which items do you really want. Okay, remember for that. Obviously, as you log in, you get a quest. Here you get the ice cream, mammoth, whatever. So you will get this one for free. Then you also get the Rock of Saturnalia for free. So yeah, the ice cream mammoth is there, so you can play some mini games from the Yeti, the snowman. So yeah, make sure to check those out. Rock of Saturnalia you want because of these parts, the stairs of Saturnalia, trees, statue, and fireplaces that you can get only from the daily login. So remember to take that. How do you get access? Of course, there's a snowman in your capital city. Talk to him. You get access to some legendary quests that will be available in the Ice King Stronghold. But also if you have the Stronghold decoration in your home city, or you can visit other players, you can play the other legendary quests as well. Now the thing is, no new legendary quest, no new minigame. So if you want to see those playthroughs, yeah, you can just check out the previous year's videos. So there's that. Anyway, you can also play PvP if you wanna get something. Remember to get the vanity if you want to, if you have some extra winter points. Of course, woolly mammoth as a decoration, you can get that. You can find all of the PvE legendary quests now. Yeah, you can find those Sparta and those. How to earn, you just play. Hard shots, you complete the quests. Then we have the store, where we get the store exclusive items, of course decorations and so on. But most important, this year we'll be getting these 3 items, which is the Ice King's Greaves. Definitely recommend getting those. Heavy Spear of the Ice King, which I believe this was changed a little bit. This got a little buff. I don't remember, to be honest, but I think it got buff. We can check that later. But yeah, some decorations, the igloos and gingerbread houses, and then the Ice King Stronghold. If you have this in your capital city, you can play the legendary quests from previous years, as I said. And during the event, they will grant you the event rewards as well. So yeah, make sure to visit other players if you don't have the Stronghold already. And then what gear we are getting? I believe this is most of the stuff, only some pieces missing, but yeah, let's take a look. So yeah, we are getting the Sword of the Piercing Frost, which is craftable, which means you gather the shards, craft it into a heart, you get the item, and so you can get the Piercing Frost Sword. Now, here are the suggestions. I'm just gonna say be careful with this, what you're looking at. But yeah, definitely I can recommend Immortals, that I can agree with. I can agree with the Babylonian Royal Guards. Indian Juggernauts, I would say it's pretty okay to use, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a unit that you need to get this sword for. I think if you have the Zahak sword, I think that's a better option, but in some situations this could be good as well, especially if you're fighting against the Romans with the Gallic horsemen. That can be really good, but otherwise I wouldn't say you really need the sword for the Juggernauts. I think the highlight is like overrated a little bit, but yeah, it can be good on them as well. The health is definitely useful for them. Celtic champions, work, especially if you're playing against Romans and Celts. That's fine. Roman Legionary, now this is where I would say you don't need it. If you are using Caesar for your H4 advisor, that's not necessary. And Centurions, this is nonsense. I'll just say it, this is nonsense. Whoever thinks that you should put this sword on a Centurion, that's nonsense. You are getting 60% ignore armor from Centurion Champion upgrade. Do not put this on Centurion. 60% is already high value. That 20% is not gonna help you that much. It's just better to grab some pure damage or Tiberius if you want to, but not the Piercing Frost on Centurions. Please don't do that. Then of course we are getting the Piercing Frost arrows, still not nerfed, god damn it. But yeah, whatever, just try to get that at least one per save, so you can use them on your main ranged unit. And then there's also the Light Spear of the Piercing Frost. Now here I'm like, again, why are we suggesting this on the Indian War Elephant? I do not get it, because that unit is getting 50% ignore armor, and it is cavalry unit, which not that many units actually has armor against cavalry, so this, in my opinion, is nonsense, okay? Don't put the Piercing Frost on the Indian War Elephants. You can try it, but I'm just gonna say don't do it. Because you are already getting 50% from the champion upgrade. And if you want, you have the Indian choose one tech to grant you extra 15%. But even then, the 50% is more than enough. Come on. This is just, no, please don't. Ekkas is okay. Hoplites are good. In my opinion, these two are fine. But this, nah, don't do that. Other unit, I would say Ulf Hayden, pretty good. Yeah, and the Piercing Frost arrows. Any ranged unit. That's basically it. Just any ranged unit that's gonna be your main unit, just put it there. It's gonna be good. Okay, then construction blueprints of the Piercing Frost. This is something you put on your towers, as this is the best offensive option you have for the building construction addition. So yeah, definitely put this on towers. Then walls of the Piercing Frost. I suggest again the towers. If you get really good roll, that's really great. Then we have the Heavy Spear of the Piercing Frost. This is, in my opinion, the best Heavy Spear in general, so whichever unit using Heavy Spear is fine. But luckily, it's just Spearmen and then like anti-cavalry units, or Lancers and what are they called? Cataphracts. So yeah, I can highly recommend the Lancers, obviously, really great unit for this spear. With the charge attack, that's just a lot of damage they can do, especially if the units have some armor against them. That's gonna help a lot. Same thing goes for Cataphracts. And then obviously you could put this on like Norse Horseman, which is really good. Any Spearman in general is gonna be good with this spear as well, so it's a good one. Greaves of the Ice King, this is something you put on your frontline units that you have mainly for tanking purpose, just so they soak damage and then your backline deals the main damage, like for example your ballistas, your catapults, war wagons, whatever. Could be like, I don't know, what could it be, like Norse bowmen for example, so you put this on the war dogs as well. So yeah, so units like war dogs, hoplites can be okay, sparabaras, shield bearers, these kinds of units. Horse Armor of the Ice King, this one I am not really a fan of, so I'm not really gonna put a good suggestion on this, but if you want the snare resist, then it can be good on Egyptian war elephants or in any cavalry in general that you don't really want to be snared too much, okay? That's where I'm gonna put this suggestion. But yeah, as I said, you get this first week, so if you don't get the daily login reward for the horse armor, you can see you can still get it the other way. And yeah, winter and other gear. I don't know why this is. I guess it's because of the daily login rewards, yes. But yeah, so the horse armor is there. Arrows of the Ice King, this is something I prefer on towers, so you keep the enemies away with the help of the snare, but Any ranged unit can be okay with it, although if you want the maximum damage, you just pick the Piercing Frost. Staff of the Ice King is good if you want to convert siege fast, but otherwise I would not really look at it too much, but it can be okay. Let's say for Elite Meat in Crete, if you want to, like on Priest of Tach, and convert the siege units really fast, that's actually fun to see. It's actually silly. And then of course the Griefs are there. And then at the Winter Store, okay, so we are getting the Javelin of the Ice King, which is good on any Javelin unit, but depends on which ones. It depends which stats do you really want, because if you just want the damage and range, then you might just go with the Curse of the Archer. But if you want the extra snare and building bonus damage for the trade-off of general damage and maximum range, then yeah, this is really good. In my opinion, it's pretty good Javelin. I wouldn't be afraid of getting it. If you don't have the Curse of the Archer, then this can be good substitute until you get that one. Heavy Spear of the Ice King, so that's damage, snare, and snare resistance. Okay, this is the stat I forgot. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this spear. I have like one, but like I don't really see the need for this. But yeah, again, if you want a snare resist and you just put it on cavalry unit and ignore the unit and you don't want your units to be snared too much, then this can be okay. So something like Cataphract, something like, I don't know, Norse Horseman. You know, you just run by, you ignore the enemy spearmen, just focus the enemy production. This can be okay to do, but at the same time, like, I have the horsemen and I have a lot of them, so I'm not really worried about it too much. Then the Grease of the Ice King, always talk about those. Now there's been a rework for the Axe of the Piercing Frost. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, it's being changed. Or I should say it's really active right now. And then there's also another change for the Throwing Axeman. So we'll get to that once we go through the patch notes that came with the winter event. Okay, then crafting costs, it's obviously gonna increase over time as you are crafting, so remember to craft among all of your saves so you actually save the materials and don't spend too much on them. So you can see, like, you start one, sorry, misclick. You start at one, then another one, it costs one, another one costs one, then it costs two, and then it costs 3 every 36 hours. So yeah, you just want to do 1, 1, 1, and then go to the other sieve. But obviously it depends how many of these items do you want on that one sieve, so you might not even get to that cost. But yeah, try to split it among the other sieves. Global quest, yeah, you just go to the bounty board, remember to pick those. How long does it last? So it started 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, and it lasts until the 27th of January 2025. So you have still more than a month ahead of you, so make sure to farm, make sure to gather all the items you want. But yeah, if you want more information why I suggest these, then make sure to check out my previous year's videos, because I want to try to keep this as short as possible. But yeah, let's move on to the maintenance patch notes that came with these changes. And there has been quite a number of those. So first, balance changes. Roman Arch construction upgrade now costs 300 wood, 300 gold from 300 wood, 300 stone. Now reduces the stone cost of buildings by minus 40% from minus 45%. I'll be honest, I don't know where this change came from. I do not understand where it came from. Like, was someone complaining about it? Because I was not really complaining about it. I feel like that was pretty fine. You would spend some stone, make your buildings more tougher to destroy by the enemy siege, and make them even cost less stone, so this would be really good for your towers and fortresses. And if you would build a multiple of those, then you would save a good amount of stone, so the cost would pay off pretty fast if you build like 3 fortresses. But now it's like it costs gold, which, okay, I mean, Romans have the good caravans with the movement speed upgrade, okay. And and then you're saving even more stone, which I'm like, why? Why did this happen? I do not understand. I feel like Romans are okay where they are, and I just don't like to see this like suddenly coming out of nowhere, because I haven't seen anyone complaining about this tech, to be honest. Maybe I just missed something. What do I know? Tell me what you think in the comment section below, please, if you know anything about this, because I feel like this is... yeah, this came out of nowhere, in my opinion. Like, I don't think Romans needed this change. And we'll see how this works out, but I just don't like it, okay? 40%, that's a huge discount. Like, come on. Remember, this affects wonders as well. And I think this includes walls as well, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge buff, not gonna lie. Anyway, Indian dog, cost reduced to 150 wood from 200 wood. Now, this is a change I truly like to see, because that was one thing I was complaining about and did not understand why Indians had the higher cost on their dogs. I think it was just an overlook, to be honest, because if you take a look at the dog cost for all the saves, you will see that only Babylonians and Romans have the higher cost, which in my opinion makes sense, because they are using the 2-pop arrow ships, which are cheaper and faster to produce. So to compensate that they do not get those ships out as fast as possible, the cost of the dock is actually increased. I would say that kind of makes sense. But this did not make sense for the Indians, so in my opinion, this is just to make it... what's the word? Consistent with the other civs. And so, I agree with this change. It makes sense in my opinion. I'm okay with that. Now we are moving on to the Norse Throwing Axeman Champion upgrade. So now grants plus 20% attack rate and 20% maximum range. Upgrade cost increased to 450 gold from 300. Okay, the main thing why this happened was because of the Piercing Frost Axe got reworked. We'll get to that soon after this. But yeah, so I understand why they got extra range. I think this is fine for the Throwing Axeman as an upgrade. I am not against it, to be honest. At least not with the range. Attack rate, we could argue about that, but I think it's okay as well, because I feel like Throwing Axeman could use some love, some small buff. I think this is fine. I don't have issue with this, to be honest. I personally like Throwing Axeman. I think it's a very unique unit. And so I would truly appreciate that this unit would see more action in the game. So, in my opinion, this is a nice change. I think this should help them a lot. How much? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, just having some base range upgrade, I think this is fine, although I would just trade off the attack range for more maximum range in general, so I don't get stuck in like... I would just have the higher range, to be honest. I would just increase it to like 40% instead of like 20-20. And then with Agwal we would get 21 range, which I feel like would be a more interesting change than this, but we'll see. Maybe in the future if the Throwing Axeman will see the gameplay. But of course, with the Piercing Frost change, yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, in my opinion, okay change, because I definitely like some buff for Throwing Axeman, as I want to see them more in action. Okay, Sparta PvP, so this is the rotation of the maps. Quest updates. Run Rudolph Run, increase the quest star rating to 4-star from 3-star. Now, this is something that should have been there from the very beginning, since the star rating was introduced. So in my opinion, this is fine. Run Rudolph Run is... I would say this is very spammy quest. Like, it is hard and definitely comparable to some other 4-star quests. Like, you could say, let's say, Alfheim, for example. I think this is pretty comparable to Alfheim, as there's a lot of units coming at you quite early. Once you manage to deal with one of the bases, then it shouldn't be a problem, especially if you defeat the Norse early on. It should be fast enough after that. But yeah, dealing with the Norse, you will see a lot of units there if you haven't played that quest already. So I think this is a good change. More rewards from this quest. I'm okay with that. Okay, champion mode changes. These are actually going to be something interesting, but I don't think I really want to go through these too much, as we are not doing that many champion mode quests so for now. I did it like once. I should get to it at some point, but yeah, basically Egyptian elephant archers have some better tracking for their projectiles. So increased track rating, snare increased. They also snare in champion mode for some reason. So better snare. This is actually really good if you ask me. Maximum spread reduced to 1.25 from 2, which means hey, it's more narrow. Spread factor reduced to, meaning they are far more accurate now. Well, we'll see in champion mode. I'll be honest, I don't know, but we'll see. If they are more accurate, then fine. That makes sense to me. Roman Scorpio cost reduced, training time reduced. I guess just to make them more available to the Roman army. Roma Invicta cost reduced to 250 from 350. I think that's the one in H4 that reduces the gold cost of the units. I think that's the one. Okay, I guess it was more. It was quite a lot, quite expensive, I should say. So, I guess okay, I don't know. SPQR now reduces villager cost and training time by 15% from 10%. Now, this one seems like a really strong change, in my opinion. Coming out of nowhere. Like, I feel like, I don't remember how expensive is this. Is it like 150? I guess it just means, hey, it's much more powerful. So if you get it, you get the real value from it now. Well, alright. Arch construction, yeah, that's the change we saw above. Then there's a lot of changes to the Indians, so I'm not going to go through those. We should have expected those some time ago, because who knows how good they are in champion mode. But yeah, basically some changes to these units. Elephant arch is just gonna be the same as Egyptian, but notice the elephant gatherer changes right here. Now, of course, increased training time, okay, but most important are these gather rates. And notice this mention: gather rates increase to match the villager gather rates reverts. So we'll get to that, and then of course some herdable gold trigger rates. So let's move to the global changes. Villager gather rate changes from 2022 reverted. If you remember, there was this one experimental change to the champion mode that was trying to slow down the game by reducing the gather rates, by making TCs more expensive. You know, very huge change to the champion mode. Some of those changes already got like reverted. Like, I believe the town center costs were reverted, for example, and now we are getting the villager costs, gather rates reverted as well. So we are getting the same as PvE value. If you ask me, it could have been interesting, but I feel like it was not that great change, because I feel like a lot of players like Age of Empires Online more than Age of Empires 2 because it is faster. And this was like trying to get closer to Age of Empires 2, which in my opinion, if I wanted to play Age of Empires 2, I would just go play Age of Empires 2. But I seriously like the speed of Age of Empires Online. So in my opinion, this is a good thing. Definitely should make the champion mode quest faster, if you ask me, because the gather rates should help you a lot. And it should make some of those quests easier, because hey, those secondary objectives suddenly should be, or I should say the time challenges should be easier to accomplish. So Maybe some balance to those quests again will come soon enough. We'll see. Okay, fishing boat base galley rate increased. So even the fishing boats got changed. Markets changes reverted as well. So the 50-second build time, same base health, same cost as in PvE. Armory, same thing, 50 seconds build time now. Fortresses changes, docks changes. Yeah, basically it's going back to the way it was. The only difference I see here are the military buildings that actually got 40 seconds build time instead of 45. And it's definitely different from PvE where it takes 50 seconds. So the military buildings are still built faster. So maybe it's even gonna be faster. Who knows? But yeah, that's gonna be it for the champion mode. Let's move on. Bug fixes. Fixed an issue where the research ranger champion and research net weights were not correctly working for the Indian civilization. That's a good change. Fixed an issue where the quest challenged the Bronze Age started certain civilizations with incorrect starting resource amounts. Well, not good. Not good, but okay, let's keep it consistent. Fixed an issue where Norse longhouses displayed an incorrect amount of 1 wood trickle rate in the tech tree by default. Okay, didn't see that. I guess I wasn't checking the tech tree that much, but okay. Yeah. Fixed an issue where small and large Indian bushes did not correctly display their icons. I saw that one, that's just some decorations. So those should have like icons in one of those quests. You could find those, so that it was there. But anyway, other updates. Batch crafting now available in crafting schools. I don't remember. Was this the consumables? I don't think it was the items. I think it was the consumables, which I don't know if this includes the items as well, but whatever. We are moving on to the final one, which is the biggest one. Axe of the Piercing Frost. Stats reworked. New stats. Damage 75.4%. Ignore armor 25%. So let me just move to the... There it is, okay? So let's talk about it. So the old stats. Damage 41.9%, maximum range 49.8%, snare 19.8%, ignore armor 19.8%. So the original stats were supposed to make this axe exclusively for the Norse throwing axeman, which makes sense. Maximum range, hey, they attack from greater distance, combine it with Agua, you get pretty good range. Now obviously the damage is kinda bad in comparison to other axes, but then you also are getting some armor, which for throwing axemen might be great early on, but later on it's bad because they get 40% from the champion upgrade, and if you have Sandra it's 48%. So yeah, could have been bad. I heard a lot of people were like, yeah, they are not really like about using this axe. I'll be honest, I feel like the axe was pretty good, but I was like for buffing it for its damage. Like I would be okay with like trading some ignore armor and the snare for some higher damage, to be honest. Like let's say 52%, 55, 56%, something like that. I feel like that would be okay, and I think it would make sense as a buff for the axe. As with the range, it would just allow you to use more axemen a lot more easily. I feel like that would be just okay, fun, okay, buff, in my opinion. But instead, we got this nonsense, and I'll be honest, I'm seriously mad that I see these numbers. And you might be asking, why are you mad? Oh, why are you mad? Well, let's just be honest. Let's go straight to the point. Okay, so first thing I need to say, where do you put the axe? On which units? If you take a look, we have the Egyptian axeman, we have the 3 or 4 Norse units if you include the chief, and we have the war traders. And if I'm not mistaken, that's all of them. I'll be honest, I would not really suggest putting this on the Norse Chief, although it could be funny to see, but yeah. Let's include these units. Okay. All of these are infantry units. So they do all of these do infantry damage. And guess what? How many of the infantry units have infantry armor? Just think about it. Just take a look. And I was counting it. And I believe the count was like 6 out of something over 20 units. Like 6 infantry units out of like something over 20 units have no infantry armor. Only 6 I could think of. Greek hoplites, Woe Traders. Let me think. I need to remember. Not a Persian. The Babylonian shield bearer. Norse throwing axeman. Ulfhedin. I believe the Norse Aquifer does not have. And that's it. Like I said, 6 units. That's all of those units I can think of. These 6 units do not have infantry armor in their base stats. Of course, once you start getting the armor attacks, that's where it's going to be good. So 6, and then calculate how many infantry units there is in total. You have 3 for the Greeks, 2 for the Egyptians, 4 for the Celts. You already have 9. Okay, then 3 extra for Persians, that's 12. 4 for the Babylonians, that's 17. 5 for the Norse, that's 22. 22. And then you have 4 for the Romans, that's 26. And then 2 for the Indians, that's 28. If I'm not miscalculated, hopefully. But yeah, that should be like 6 out of 28 infantry units do not have infantry armor. So the remaining 22 does have some infantry armor. And if you take a look at the values, usually it starts at 0.3, but obviously you can find some that have even higher. Especially some of them get them from champion upgrades, like Harjar, for example. Some of them have naturally higher armor, for example, the Roman Legionary or Celtic Champion. But yeah, everything else is like either 0.30, only exception are the Immortals that I believe have only 0.2. So there's that, but yeah. Basically this axe, you could say, in general, is increasing damage against infantry units. In general. Already. Okay. Let's be honest, this axe is just straight up anti-infantry axe. And that's where I feel like my biggest issue is when you include the high infantry armor values. And so if we include like, okay, 0.3 doesn't look that great, but it still helps a lot. But when you include the legionaries with 0.5, you have to realize that's where you get the 100% damage increase from the Igno armor. So by that I mean, if this says 25%, that means 25% damage extra against legionaries. And remember, this is multiplying, so you are getting more than double damage against those already. Just so you know, calculator. Okay, let's take it. The damage times. You can see more than double. This is more than double damage against legionaries just because you have this axe. That's insane. That's insane. This makes quests like Invasion of Rome or any Roman quest so much easier to defend against if you have this axe. And it doesn't matter if it's like Egyptian axeman or Norse farming axeman. Of course, the longer the game goes, the more armor attacks they're getting. And this value is just gonna go higher. Let me clear this. Okay. 1.754. And now imagine the Roman legionaries have the second armor tier. Okay, that's where it is about like 2/3 of the damage reduction, which means this value is doubled. That's a huge damage buff. That's a huge damage buff, but I feel like the most important one is gonna be when you see the 0.40, because that's when the enemy have the full armor attacks, or you have the 0.30 infantry armor improved by the first armor attack, which should be around, I believe, something like 16 point. I'm just gonna round it up to like 4, okay, something like this. And it's already double damage. If you ask me, this axe is seriously OP against any infantry unit. Like, if you gave me something like Champion's Axe, which is the axe that grants infantry armor and about the same amount of damage, and you just took the value of the armor and just make it into the bonus damage against infantry, this axe would still be better. This axe would be just better. And that's why I hate it. This is why I hate it. This axe just became #1 choice for the maximum damage output, in my opinion. Obviously, it's not gonna be great against buildings, but can you imagine putting this axe on Berserker in Roman quests? How fast are you gonna obliterate those legions of legionaries? Yeah, it's a good joke. You call those legions, right? Well, how come they are dying so fast, right? It's just gonna be a bad joke, in my opinion. That's just gonna be a terrible joke. So yeah, you want this axe, it's definitely worth picking it. Definitely get one. Now, I do not really recommend it on Egyptian axemen. I would say it's better for the Egyptian axemen, it's better to get the Axe of the Ice King, but I don't think I saw that one this year. So instead, what I would suggest, get this one for the Egyptian axeman, and then make your spearman as high HP as possible, and then when you go for the Sobek advisor in H4, you just spam the spearman instead of like axeman or spearman axeman combination. So you make the frontline spearman supported by the catapults. And so you use the axeman early on to defend against the enemy infantry, especially something like legionary, something like Celtic longswordsman, or just spearmen in general. This is just huge. So that's my suggestion for the Egyptians. For the Norse, the obvious choice is gonna be the Berserker. That is 100% the choice. I would suggest getting this axe on, as you will obliterate practically anything in the late game. Now, obviously, if you are playing quests where you don't see too many armor attacks, then I would say, okay, you don't need to get this axe. But yeah, if you want to have the easiest time in those most challenging quests, this axe is just too good. Celtic Woe Traders. Obvious choice if you're dealing with the enemy Romans, enemy Celts. This is just gonna be huge help for your Woe Traders when obliterating the enemy infantry, which, in my opinion, is the biggest weakness for Woe Traders. So this axe, in my opinion, is removing that weakness from Woe Traders. And that's why I hate it again. Woe Traders are supposed to be weak against infantry. With this axe, this weakness is not so obvious anymore. Obviously, throwing axeman is also a good choice, especially early game when you want to defend against something like Roman Legionary. This should definitely help you defend early on before you even get the champion upgrade. So it's definitely a huge help. The damage buff is gonna be really good. And I was taking a look, like I was using the Kitten of the Wolf with this axe. Just so you know, the damage right now, if you just go full damage build, like with Bjorn, I think is the H4 advisor. Use Agwal, yeah, whatever. You pick this axe, Master Assassin's Gauntlets, and then like Kitten of the Wolf instead of the Divine High Vizier. You are getting like 44 damage. Or, yeah, damage per second. 44, that's pretty huge value to be honest. When you include the fact that these guys would be also getting more than 60% Ignore Armor. And you have to remember, I also am using Sunder, so you can get to like 73, which is insane. Like, before it was 68, now it's 73 with Sunder. That's a huge Ignore Armor, to be honest. And to be honest, because of this change to the axe, I would say you can replace the Sunder for Frenzy without a problem now. Why would I want to pick Sunder when I can get this axe on all these 3 units, where to be honest, I would just use it on these 2 units and just have the Ignore Armor on them. And you have to remember, there's the heavy speed of the Piercing Frost and light speed of the Piercing Frost that are already getting or giving your units 30% Ignore Armor. So because of this change, I'm asking, when I put this on these 2 units, why would I pick Sunder? Why would I pick Sunder at this point? That's another reason why I don't like this axe, because it makes Sunder, how should I say it, less useful. I'll be honest, I hate this change because of this. If you want another argument why I'm against this axe, double-edged axe, the one that grants you damage and critical hit chance. Why should I care about the crit chance when I can just ignore the armor and just get the damage in general? Sure, it's gonna be better against buildings, but then I have the Zax axe. So for the building damage, that's not it. And for dealing with units, I have this axe. Why should I pick that one? Again, making another item quite redundant. The only reason it's still somewhat valuable is you can get it outside of the event. But during the event, this axe. Okay. And then of course, yeah, the champion upgrade ID. Okay, let me just read the comment. This item was initially designed specifically for the Norse forming axeman. This made it quite unsuitable for every other unit that used a great axe. Yes, I can agree with this. With this rework, we are aiming to make the item more appealing for more than one unit. Can I just do this? Congratulations, you did it. However, it's important to note that the stats of this axe made it so that throwing axemen were used a lot more often due to the increased attack range. To compensate for this and to make throwing axemen more viable in quests, particularly legendary quests, we are making adjustments to the throwing axemen champion upgrade as well, which were these changes. I'll be honest, I'm not against it, to be honest. If you also like nerf the range down to like 20%, remove the snare, and then just buff the damage to something like this. Nah, not even this. It would be like, okay, let's just say I would change the damage if I had to do something. Okay, I would be okay. Nerf the maximum range down to like 20%. Maybe even less if you want to. Remove the snare, buff the ignore armor to 25%. But buff the damage to like 62.9%. Because at that point, And I was taking a look at the numbers there. I was calculating the damage output. What would it do if, with the full armor attacks? And I'll be honest, that's where I would rather see the item. With that damage value than this. So I'm gonna say just nerf the damage to something like 62.9%. So it's on the same value as the Axe of the Ice King. Because of the Igno armor, as the enemy units are getting the armor values, which in general infantry units already have, like most of them already have, I feel like the value would not be lost there. It would be still good axe. You could see the calculation. You could see the number. Against legionaries, this is really strong. And that was just the second tier of armory upgrades. That was not the full armory upgrades. So yeah, there's that. I am completely against these changes, okay? I hate this. Let's get into the game. Let's just take a look at the store, or I should say, I don't think I've done this on Greeks yet. So let's take a look. Yeah, of course, Home City, Empire Bazaar. You get the quest there. Come on. Yeah, so you here, the snowman, near the Empire store. Sorry, not Bazaar, but the Empire store. Talk to him. Here's the quest. You get these items.
Good luck. Don't get killed.
Automatically completed. So you go to the Fortress of the Ice King right here in Jutland, same as the Northern Hold is. So you just go, return to the city. You complete it, and then there you have it. The global quest, remember to check out those. You can also trade your materials here.
It is my destiny.
Here you will find some of the minigames. Then remember,
be safe, my friend.
Once you build this winter ice cream vendor, you will get 3 more minigames.
Come, let us.
Then we have some of those legendary quests here. So if you want more of those legendary quests, then you need the Ice King's Stronghold. But yeah, you can find these quests at the Stronghold as well. So if you wanna like these, then you can replay them one more for your Civ. If you just visit the Stronghold. Excuse me. Of course, Broken Heart. Once you have enough shards from the quest, you combine them into the King's Heart. Then you're trading for these items. Okay, there you have it. There's the store. Remember to check this one out. Here you can see the cost. So the heavy spear is 17,500. The greaves are 15,500. Javelin is 14,500. So yeah, you will need some good amount of points. Remember to keep trading off those materials that you have extra. Remember to use the Roman Dismantler for extra materials that you can trade off for the extra points. Remember to do that. Of course, after the event, once you have everything and you feel like you can just spend the points somewhere, then obviously you can go for these chests. You have the large chests right here, which give better rewards. Definitely give those a try. If you have the spare points to get, like for example, some legendary advisors. Obviously, you can also spend for some decorations. Remember the Ice King Stronghold. Just get 1 for your save. Remember to keep some shards around so you can actually build the stronghold. Yeah, it costs 15,000, but it will offer you a good amount of legendary quests, so definitely worth the price in my opinion. Then there's the Woolly Mammoth. I believe you get 1 or 2 of these from the daily login rewards, but if you want some more, you can definitely purchase more here. Definitely you can purchase the igloos right here, or is it igloos or igloos? How do you pronounce it in English? I don't know. I'm just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say igloo. Then of course the gingerbread residences as well. You can get the warehouse as well for the 24 slots. 450 points for these. This is like 1 legendary quest. You have it. Okay, so if you want the warehouses, then you can definitely get this one. Snow Fort. That's a nice decoration. Of course, there's the Winter Vanity and Ice Vanity. I definitely suggest the Ice Vanities. Those have some nice visuals, so definitely you can get those. And of course some consumables if you want to. Remember, this is the only way to get these specific consumables, but most important, the heroic 8 is very specific one, the most powerful, so if you want it you can get it, although I don't like it, okay? It's a very powerful consumable. But yeah, that's gonna be all from me for now, so I hope you enjoy this. Make sure to farm the event as much as you can. Tell me what you think about the changes, especially the piercing frost axe, because I'm just gonna say it, it's, in my opinion, it looks good for you, but it's, in my opinion, it's so unbalanced. It's not good. It's not good, okay? I'm so against it because it just makes some other things redundant, and that's what I don't like to see. Because why would I pick the other things? But anyway, tell me what you think, and yeah, leave a comment. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, and yeah, I'll just make some videos public to you. Finishing the Starship Troopers Terran Command and the Enclaves Light campaign. And then yeah, I'll make more videos after the new year. So yeah, I'll see you in the new year 2025. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the Christmas. Sorry for the delay, but yeah, I was a little bit busy. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This was Psychosaurus. I'll see ya in the next year. Bye!